Rain overnight, sometimes heavy. And wet again later today. It's going to be cooler today as well. 9 Celsius, 48 degrees Fahrenheit, the temperature at the moment. Beacon Radio. Pretty short and to the point, that, wasn't it? I'm usually still talking about the weather. But anyway. Okie dokie, my old culture lovers, what have we got for you? We've got a midnight line, that's what. And it's a free-for-all, so you can talk about anything you want to talk about. 754-123 in Wolverhampton, 236-235 in Shrewsbury. My name's Ian Perry, and the lines are open till around about 2 o'clock on this free-for-all. So you can talk about anything you want to talk about. I've remembered to tell you, day 14 now of no smoking. How about that? The patches are working. The patches are working. What have I been up to today? I've been giving insurance companies a hard time today, and I really enjoyed myself. Because I'm involved, or sort of semi-involved, in a claim, and they weren't paying out. And it's amazing, if you ring up and say, hello, I do a phone show, and I'm going to say nasty things about you unless you sort this out like now. It's amazing how quick they jump. I phoned 2 of them, and the second lot I phoned on, can't remember now, Bev, that was it, Bev's behalf, because she's had a problem, and they're going to get back to me about that first thing in the morning. So I said, no, make it first thing in the afternoon, mate, because I don't see mornings, I'm that roughy-tufty. So that led me to thinking, have you got any wrongs that you think should be righted? Because it's quite good fun, this lark, when you get stuck into it. You got to be in the right mood, like, you know, you got to be sort of aggressive, you know, because if I'm in one of my little lammy moods, then, you know, they say things like, well, we're not paying out, so there. And you go, well, all right then. Okay. But if you're in an aggressive mood, you know, if you've got aggressive head on, then you can have a right go at insurance companies and so forth. So if you've got any wrongs that you feel should be righted, then give us a call, tell us what the wrong is, and I'll decide whether or not I want to write it. I might say, nah, it's boring, I don't want to write that. Or I might decide you haven't got a case. But if you've got a good enough case, there's something that you believe you've been wronged over, you can give us a call, tell us all about it, and may, just may, take up the cudgel on your behalf. You can hire the A-team if you can find them. So, okay, we could do that. 754-123 in Wolverhampton, 236-235 in Shrewsbury, if you feel that there is a wrong in your life that needs righting. What else has been going on? Well, last night we talked about God, vis-a-vis, you know, Big G, and whether or not he existed. And we said that we would have a definitive answer on the meaning of life, the universe, and everything by 2 o'clock. We promised you a definitive answer, and by 2 o'clock we had a definitive answer. The definitive answer was, we don't know. We don't know why we're here. We haven't got a clue. Not a clue. But if you've got a theory about why we're here, why we exist, and all the rest of it, 754-123 in Wolverhampton, 236-235 in Shrewsbury. Tuesday we did Plank of the Month, and that was convincingly won by Richard Head, the Tory student who wants to be an economist. Should Lamont go? That's another thing. Should he go? Pig Norm. Should Pig Norm be shown the red card? Because you could argue it's not exactly Pig Norm's fault if everything's going horribly wrong, is it? You can't blame Pig Norm if he's just carrying through government policies. And he says, and he stood up and his little lower piggy jaw was quivering with emotion. He stood up and said that it wasn't his fault everything that had gone wrong, and it went wrong ages ago, and he's only trying to put it right, so jolly well stop being jolly well horrible to him. It's not his fault, poor man. On the other hand, you might think he's a load of old crap and he should resign forthwith, or even fifthwith. Okay, 754-123 in Wolverhampton, 236-235 in Shrewsbury. It's the midnight line on Beacon and WABC. It's a free-for-all. Before we go to the lines, let's have a look at this. Who's been writing to me? 267 Tettenhall Road in Wolverhampton, or 28 Castle Street in Shrewsbury, if you want to drop me a line. First of all, this looks fun. This is Nigel. Now, when I was a smoker, I went to the Pen Cottage, which is a restaurant, when I was a smoker, and I sat in the smoking bit, and Nigel actually served me. Little did I know that he was the assistant manager. Now, last week, or I can't remember when it was now. Was it last week, week before? I don't know. No, it was last week. We went back to the Pen Cottage, and this time I went in the no smoking section, and as I was walking out, somebody stood in my path, And then said, it was one of the staff, and then they saw the receipt in my hand and they said, oh, you have paid then. Oh, do I look like the sort of bloke who would do runners from restaurants? Yes, I suppose I do, really. Okay, anyway, they write, Dear Sir. Oh, thanks, Nige. We at Pen Cottage are holding a charity sheep shearing night. Don't forget to do the joke. Are you shearing that sheep? No, you'll have to get your own. On Bank Holiday Monday, that's the 31st of May, in aid of Jamie Shotton's parents' ambulance appeal. I'm just writing to you to ask if you'd be kind enough to send a team of 4 to compete in a good fun evening to raise funds. What I'm sure you'll agree is a worthwhile cause. I look forward to hearing from you soon. Enclosed is a copy of the rules and the object of the game. Sheep shearing. Sounds like a lot of fun. Hey. 4 players per team. Each team to play each other once on a league basis. Is it going to take a... Oh, there's no sheep. Each player takes a balloon covered in shaving foam. Oh, well, there you go. Pop and scare me. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll put that up in the on the notice board here at Beacon and WABC Towers for you, Nigel. And we'll see if we can get a team together. I certainly don't expect to be stopped next time I come out. So next time I walk out of the restaurant. Dear Ian, first, I'm not a tart. Now, on the free-for-all on Monday, we said, are you a tart? And if you're a tart, we want to hear from you. I heard a load of blokes who said they were tarts. Any women who say, are you a woman who confesses to being a bit of a tart? If you're a woman and you feel that you're a bit of a tart, then give us a call, because we'd like to hear from a woman who's a bit of a tart. This is from Paul Molotov, who says, first, I'm not a tart, but I know someone who is. I'll try and get her on the phone next time I'm able to get on. Mark is right to prefer a republic, so I think that was a suggestion earlier in the week that we should run the UK as a republic and it'd be much better. But what sort? We need a change of economy, according to Paul. Change of the political system. We need to start with council workers. Eh? I see, right. He goes on about why communism failed. He says it's because the party became corrupt, because it was the only party with any power. Socialism works, according to Paul, given the opportunity. Lenin. Great, that. Led the revolution in Russia, and then he went and started the Beatles. Lenin and his comrades made great strides forward in a very short space of time. I'd like to have been in the NKVD. Yours for socialism. Give my best wishes to your goldfish, Lenin and Stalin, who are still happily swimming around their huge tank. Huge tank, Lenin and Stalin. Right. What we do? Free for all, that's what we're doing. And first on the line, 754123 in Wolverhampton, 236-235 in Shrewsbury, if you want to join him. First on the lines. Paul, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Paul. What can we do you for?
About this P. Lamont, whether you can't expect him to resign, you can't expect the government to resign.
Would you?
No.
No, I wouldn't either. No.
Why should I, if I was in that job, why should I give up 40 grand a year?
Exactly, I wouldn't resign. I wouldn't.
The fact that they blame the rest of the world, they blame everybody but themselves.
Yes, but isn't it the rest of the world's fault?
Oh.
I mean, isn't it foreign people's fault?
No.
Yes, I think you'll find it is.
No.
I think you'll find that it's foreign people's fault. It's not our fault, it's foreign people's.
Yes, you know.
If there weren't any foreign people, we wouldn't have this problem.
Yeah.
If the world was British, we wouldn't have this problem with the economy. If we'd have kept the empire...
When the world was British, when the sun never set on the British Empire, we still had these problems.
Yes, but in those days, poor people didn't matter, did they?
No, they still don't.
Because they weren't as much as a political pressure group as they are now.
That's right.
I mean, in the good old days,
Lenin hadn't come along.
You were poor, you tugged your forelock, and you died.
That's right.
But that's all changed.
Yeah.
With the emancipation
Still doesn't mean ordinary people count.
Oh, you don't reckon they do?
Of course they don't. Of course they don't.
Where's Pig Norm? Why is it Pig Norm's fault? He says it's not his fault. It's everybody else's, not his.
It's not his fault on his own. I mean, it's the whole capitalist system that's wrong. On the same Paul as Letty have just...
Oh, right, okay. Well, I'll give you a few choruses of the red flag.
I think
I don't want to be a communist.
Well, I was one, and quite frankly, it didn't do me much good.
I've been to Russia. I've seen Russia. It's a real dire country.
I'd love to have gone to see it under Brezhnev, perhaps not later.
Well, I saw it under Gorbachev.
Well, I read his book, and his book Perestroika, and to be perfectly honest, the book bore no relation to what he was doing in Russia.
Do you know what the problem with communism is?
Yeah?
It's boring.
It wasn't boring under Lenin and Stalin.
Well, no, if you could be in the NKVD, it was quite interesting, I suppose.
Even for the ordinary person, it was exciting under communism.
Yes, I'm sure being executed for spurious reasons in the basement of the Lubyanka prison is quite an exciting way to spend a night, really, isn't it?
I'm talking about the average worker, not those who.
That's exactly it.
Political, so-called crimes.
That's your problem with communism, isn't it? That all they ever go on about is work. And toiling the.
Important.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is.
No, it is not. Where'd you get that idea from?
It's important to me because I haven't got any.
Yeah, but I mean, when you've got a job, I mean, it surely shouldn't be the overriding thing in your life, should it?
It's what provides your food on the table and the clothes on your back. It's got to have an important part. An important place in your life.
Under communism, the only jobs you get seem to be toiling in the fields for the greater good of the party.
Or for the greater good of the socialist system,
or the proletariat and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like this idea of toiling in the fields, I think. I was never very good with me hands, ask anybody. Ask any of my ex-girlfriends. I much prefer mouthing off, it's a lot easier and you don't have to get up early.
That's right.
Those are the two major advantages.
Yeah.
I mean, toiling in the field, you have to be up at 6, don't you, and things like that.
Yeah.
And it'd do my back. I couldn't toil in the field. So how does he put it right then, if it's not his fault?
He can't.
Oh dear.
He can't.
Because the system stinks, is that
Yeah.
why?
Yeah.
And
The system won't allow, certainly his government's policies won't allow meddling in the economy. Obviously a future Labour government has got to do some meddling in the economy, with a bit of nationalisation before some industries disappear altogether and we use some of the others to provide some money in the coffers.
So what would you do?
What would I do?
You are now Paul, let's give you a really good title. You're head political commissar for the UK.
Oh, I don't like that in case I change my name to Richard.
Okay, you're not political commissar for the UK. You're now the head honcho in Britain. You can have any system you want. What system are you going to have?
Socialist economy. Undoubtedly a socialist economy.
How does that work then?
That will nationalise 1/3 of all sections of the economy so that we've got some control over the economy. And some industries I would nationalise totally before they disappear, and others purely and simply to bring money into the coffers.
But then if you, say for example, you nationalised mining...
Yes, that's got to stay nationalised because...
Aren't you just propping up a dead industry?
We're propping up an industry that's needed.
What's it needed for?
Well, we need coal.
Well, yeah, but we can buy that somewhere else.
Yes, but is it the same as... it doesn't work out cheaper buying it from abroad than producing your own, because you've got all them thousands of miners that you've got to pay dole money to.
Well, yeah, but I mean, if you take that into consideration and that ultimately they will be absorbed into the economy, then it's got to be cheaper. I mean, put it this way, right? A shop next door to you,
Yeah.
you live next door to a shop, it sells oranges, right?
Mm-hmm.
And these oranges are £2 each.
Yeah.
However, just down the road, there is a shop where same oranges are 10p each. Which shop are you going to go to?
The one with the 10p each. I think.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly. What does that prove?
Oh, proves shopping around saves you money, doesn't it?
Yeah. So I haven't said that there shouldn't be, some sort of competition in the economy. I'm merely saying that the competition has got to benefit all instead of a few, and the profits have got to benefit everybody and not a few.
But what you're doing is running a protectionist economy that bears no reality to free market forces.
But I'm not suggesting we get rid of the free market totally. I'm just saying we have some control over it.
We just get rid of bits.
No, we just get control of the economy, so that the rich can't then go on strike.
The rich can't go on strike?
Yeah.
What happens when the rich go on strike? They go live in cardboard boxes for a week?
No, they withdraw their capital. The same as a worker when he goes on strike, he withdraws his labour.
Oh, is that what they do, is it?
Yeah.
That's very naughty of them, isn't it?
Yes, it is, rather.
So you'd stop all that happening?
Yeah, and just because you'd simply do it by investing in the public sector of that section of the economy, and then they've got no choice but to invest or lose profits. And that way you're developing a vicious upward circle instead of a vicious downward cycle that we got now.
So why don't they do that?
Because they're there to protect the economy from people like me.
From you getting your share?
for me getting my share, yeah. And having my job to go and do 5 days a week and, to keep wages down. That's what they're there for. Purely and simply to keep the rich in control of the economy.
Oh, that's a bit naughty, isn't it? Well, I suppose it's all right if you're rich.
No problems if you're rich. Might get your phone bugged a bit, but
yeah, there is.
put up with that.
There is that. Do you believe that that's happened?
Well, I believe that the Sun wants to make a lot of money, and the Daily Mirror wants to make a lot of money. Why people are bothered about whether they're bugged or not, I've got no idea.
I don't care, quite frankly.
They could all go off onto a little island somewhere and have their own little, autocracy on that little island, so it doesn't bother me.
They could have the headlines tomorrow, Princess Charles is actually a Martian. And
I thought he was.
Well, it didn't bother me at all.
Didn't he play Mr. Spock in Star Trek?
He's got the ears, hasn't he?
Yeah.
So in the space of, first of all, the Sun, patriotic, forelock tugging.
Patriotism.
No, I know, but it pretends to be, doesn't it?
It's jingoism.
Well, anyway, they're blowing the whistle on a new royal scandal, and then yesterday they narked Florida Phil to the police.
Yeah, they did.
So the Sun are coppers narcs.
Yeah.
The little sneaks.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
Like Florida Phil. Anyway, so that's it. We go to a socialist economy.
We're not going to get it for 150, 200 years.
Well, I can't wait that long.
No, we can't. But in the meantime, we've got to do something to provide. I'm going to a conference in a few weeks' time.
Comrade.
A Labour Party conference on industrial strategy. And
that'll be fascinating.
Well, I'm interested in
industrial strategy. Otherwise, you wouldn't be going, would you?
That's right. But I think in the meantime, Labour's industrial strategy has got to be 1, to bring money into the coffers, and 2, to provide jobs. And it's only going to be tinkering with the economy, but that tinkering's got to take place to provide jobs and to bring money into the coffers for education, for health, and whatever.
Because if it doesn't,
then more and more people are going to be getting those cardboard boxes that are being provided by, is it the Dutch government?
Oh, they really? They used to send us a Christmas tree.
Yeah, they're going to...
Oh no, that was the Norwegians, wasn't it?
A designer cardboard box for those living on their streets in Rotterdam.
Southerly facing. Beautiful aspect.
Just in tonight's Express and Star.
Okie dokie. All right, thanks for that. I've got to move on, but 150 years' time, you believe a socialist economy
eventually
is what we will evolve into?
They've destroyed socialism at the moment, but just as even Hitler tried to destroy socialism, you can't destroy an idea. And if it's a good idea, it's never ever going to go away for good. It's going to keep coming back.
Okie dokie, thanks for that. There we go. Predictions about what's going to happen 150 years hence with the economy from Paul. Red Paul, I think we'll christen you. There we go, that was Red Paul. Next we've got Stephen. 754-123 in Wolverhampton, 236-235 in Shrewsbury. It's the Midnight Line on Beacon and WABC. It's a free-for-all. Talk about anything you want to talk about. Next, it's Stephen. Good morning, Stephen.
Good morning, how are you?
Hello.
Hello, alright?
Yeah, fine. What can we do for you?
I'm talking about WABC.
Yes.
And
yes.
Every time you know Jim Duncan?
Personally, yes.
Every time I ask for him, right?
Yes.
He can say, get off the phone.
Does he? The little tinker. 754-123 in Wolverhampton, 236-235 in Shrewsbury. Just had one of your fans on the phone.
Why's that?
He said that every time he asks for you, you tell him to get off the phone.
Who's that?
The guy I just told to get off the phone.
No, that must be you. This is not me.
You're a nice guy, aren't you?
Yeah, I don't do that.
No,
sort
you
of
don't
thing,
do that.
It's not get out of it, No. I won't have none of that rubbish, you know.
No, that's what I thought.
Have you got your book?
Pardon?
Well, if you ain't got your book, my brother, you can't be in the union.
My book? I'm not in the union.
You've got to have your card.
Have I?
Yeah, for your block vote.
My block vote? Oh, for the fireman thingy. Yes, okay.
That's the one I was on about.
I see. Is there a doctor in the house? Thank you for the tea, Mr. James.
That's okay.
You're very kind.
By the way, just a little request. The fans are asking, can you bring the Triumph on Sunday?
Yes, I'll be
I know it might be a little damp on Saturday night, but could you please bring it Sunday? I know you don't like taking it out when it's wet.
I'll make it. I'll make this a special occasion.
Thank you.
All right then. Ta-ra. There we go, Mr. Duncan. Wrongly accused, I feel, by Stephen of being nasty, because Jim's one of the nicest guys I know. I'll be a tenner for saying that, thank you. Okay, 754123 in Wolverhampton, 236-235 in Shrewsbury. This Sunday, 16th of May, be there, it'll be totally unfashionable. Himley Hall is the place to be. Dirty Ron Dixon from Brookside's going to be at the Beacon and WABC Motor Show. All the guys from here, all the gals from here, you'll see right over there, will be there. There's going to be a Princess Diana lookalike. John Starkey, John's going to be there, with his little turban on and a crystal ball, telling you all about tall, dark strangers that you're going to meet. He's a clairvoyant. What else is going on? Oh, free go windsurfing, presented with the Surf Shack. The Thomas Drawns Fun Fair. And you can have a go at bungee jumping if you want as well. That's good, isn't it? And it's all free. That's the nice thing. It's all free. Fun starts at 10 o'clock at Himley Hall this Sunday. Be there or be totally unfashionable. Free for all on Beacon and WABC. We'll be back to the lines after this award-winning commercial break.
Can't afford a holiday this year? Then come to Holiday Club Pontins. During June, 2 adults can enjoy a 7-night self-catering holiday for just £69 per person, with children under 16 going free. There's plenty of entertainment laid on, including the Crocodile Club for the kids. And you can choose from any one of 8 holiday sites around the country. So come on and treat yourself and the family to a 7-night holiday for just £69 per adult in June. And remember, kids go free. At these prices, places are going fast. For details and bookings, call Holiday Club Pontins now on 0772 621 621 and tell them you heard it on Beacon.
Well, I got a brand new from my harvester, and I'll give you the key. Come on now, let's get together and retire my knee. I ain't got 28.
A mystery #1 hit in June '76, recorded by a straw-chewing yokel and his bumpkin backers. A record that seems innocent enough until slowed down and reversed. Suddenly, everything becomes clear.
White tub clear, white tub clear, the mysterious flavor of a cola. Yes, completely clear. White tub clear.
Does this explain why people all over Britain are drinking Tab Clear, the sugar-free soft drink from Coca-Cola? Suddenly, everything is clear.
They met.
Oh, hello.
Hiya. They smooched. They snogged. They went back for coffee. And soon the air was filled with a pitter-patter of tiny spots. For they were bacteria in love.
Yeah.
And they were at it every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
But wash every day with Biactol. And the bacteria won't meet, smooch, snog, go back for coffee, or cause spots, cause they'll be dead. But as the beastly bacteria will return, you need Biactol every day. It helps keep spots at bay because it throws a carton of cold custard on the most amorous of bacteria. Oh.
Midnight Line on Beacon and WABC. It's a free-for-all, so you can talk about anything you want to talk about. 754-123 in Wolverhampton, 236-235 in Shrewsbury. If you've got any wrongs, if you feel that you've been terribly wronged, and you would like that wrong, write it. All you got to do is give us a call, tell us what the wrong is, and if I like the idea, I might write it for you, or at least have an attempt to do so, because I was doing some of that yesterday, and it's great fun. 754-123 in Wolverhampton, 236-235 in Shrewsbury. Next on the lines, on this line, right here, right now, it's Cuckoo. Good morning.
Good morning. Hello there, Yogi Bear. How you doing, pal?
I'm very well. What's this Yogi Bird business?
Oh, it's just a bit of my softness, you know. Big softy, mate.
Bit of softness.
Yeah.
Bit of softness.
How's the smoking, pal?
Don't know, I haven't done it
Are you
for
down
2
to your
weeks.
elbows yet? Biting your nail, biting your finger.
Very, very laid back about it.
Yeah,
Very laid back.
Well, these patches, how long do they last for then?
24 hours.
I mean, do you have to have them on till you, for the rest of your life, or?
No, 2 months.
2 months,
Yeah.
and then you rip them off, and then hopefully that's done the trick, has it?
Theoretically, that's how it works, yes.
Yeah, well, I like a cigar myself, occasionally, with a lager,
Well,
That's the cigar
I used
like, you know.
I used to like 20 Bensons a day, but unfortunately I can't do it anymore. Pity, because I used to enjoy smoking.
Oh, and how's the bike, alright?
Oh, beautiful.
Hey, you ever thought about Harley Davidson, no?
Ah, it's American.
Oh, a mate of mine's got the Harley, like, you know, comes round and does a bit of burn up down the motorway, alright, I tell you.
Well, as far as I can work out, Harley Davidsons are okay as long as you don't want to actually turn right. or go around any corners.
Yeah, someone done nice on there, they do them up nice, like with all the studs on or whatever, you know?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Well, mine's got a stud on, but I tend to ride it.
Oh.
A stud right at the front holding the handlebars.
Right. Anyway, Cock, my points tonight. First of all, I'd like to point out, you know, about the ship workers at down at Tyne and Weir. You know, it's time the government did something about, you know, they just standing back letting all these companies go to the wall.
Now, they've awarded a contract this week, haven't they?
That's right.
Now, who did they award that to?
Oh, Christ, it was somebody else they give it to, haven't they?
But presumably, if they hadn't given it to the somebody else, then the somebody else would be in trouble.
Yeah. Well, as you say, there are two ways of looking at it, but I still feel, you know, ships will always want ships, maybe wars and whatever going on, you know. You know, I still feel that there's a, you know, there is a, you know, they do want ships and bloody boats. You know, this government is just not, they're sitting on their asses, and they're not bothered. You know, they just want to kind of fight the way out of a paper bag. They just want to get, you know, they won't help out. You know, they just let them go to liquidation, and thousands of people on the dole, get them all unemployed, keep inflation down. I reckon that's what's behind all this. I do myself.
Well, that's precisely what the Chancellor said. He said his job is to keep inflation down.
Correct. Well, as you said,
is that a good thing?
Well, yes and no. I mean, at the end of the day, you got to invest in the economy to, you know, keep people working, keep people in jobs. I mean, it's like, well, just take the building industry for instance. Without houses, you haven't got the cookers, the fridges, everything that goes inside the houses. Have you? You know, producers and manufacturers for other people to get jobs. You know.
But there's an argument that says that low inflation only really suits you if you've got heaps of money.
Well, exactly. It's for the rich, isn't it? Law for the rich and law for the poor.
So the way I explain it...
Keep the poor down, keep them under the thumb, and the rich rich.
If I went and bought a house, right, for 50,000, yeah?
Yeah, yep.
And then inflation went totally out of control, although my wages kept up with it.
Yeah.
So that in 3 weeks' time you couldn't buy a loaf of bread for 50,000. Then
yeah.
All I do is I walk in the building society and go, there's your 50,000 quid. The house is now mine, isn't it?
That's right. But saying that, like, on the other hand, I mean, you look at houses now, they brought inflation down, but your house... If you got your own house, such as myself, you know, your house is worth 10% less than what you paid for it. You're paying for a high mortgage when the house is worth less than what it is, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, so inflation only really suits you if you've got money to invest.
Correct.
If you haven't got any money, what you actually want is very high inflation.
Yeah.
So go live in Italy.
You know, and I still feel, you know, you go back to your politics, Scotland have never done the Tories any favours, have they? You know, I wonder whether this is just another stab in the back, like, you know what I mean?
Well, I don't think... Scotland? I don't think the Scots have ever forgiven us for Culloden or the Glencoe massacre.
Well, they're still on about the Loch Ness Monster, aren't they?
Or beating them 2-1 at Wembley.
Well, the other point was, Scott, I was going to make, was this little chocolate lad at, you know, at school. You know, the teachers have turned their back on him, haven't they?
This is, I don't like the term, but this is the black kid who teachers have said that he's uncontrollable and
That's
that they
right.
can't teach him, but committees have said you can teach him.
Yeah.
Teachers have said, tough luck.
You know, I mean, to look at him on the telly, he looks innocent enough. But I'm wondering whether, you know, they should bring the old Birch back and give him a bit of Birch. I mean, they just seem frightened of him, in my opinion. You know, I mean, they turn around and say, well, he can't play with the kids in the... You know, he's sitting in the corridor, apparently, according to his mother, reading comics and what have you all day, and they won't even speak to him. You know, I just can't understand what's going on there, like, you know.
Do teachers have the right to say who they teach and who they don't?
Not really. Well, I mean, you know, with respect to them, I mean, at the end of the day, we're all there to go to school, aren't we? You know, and it's up to the bloody headmaster and the teachers to lay the law down a bit, be a bit firmer, you know, not firm enough, are they?
Well, there again, they're not allowed to be firm,
correct,
are they?
They've took that away from when they slap around the ear and, you know, slap it where you're the old, I mean, there was nothing worse than the cane, was there? You know, especially if it's snowballing and they give you the old cane on the old fingers, you know, I mean, that's...
Used to have an Iron Maiden at our school. Used to get shut in that.
But that lad himself, what do you reckon yourself? Do you think...
I don't know, but it's very difficult because you don't know the circumstances
of the
case.
They didn't say anything, did they? Didn't even interview the teachers, you know. I can't understand why they've, you know, why they've actually blacked him, so to speak, you know what I mean?
Well, presumably because they feel he is disruptive.
Yeah.
Whether or not he is well, a separate committee, I don't know which committee it was, they just said that some committee or other had sat down and said, well, no, he's not disruptive at all and you can teach him. And the teachers have said, get lost you, we're not doing that.
Yeah, yeah.
But, I mean, I suppose it's do teachers have the right to say who they're going to teach and who they're not? Or does an airline pilot have the right to say, I'm not taking off in this thing because I don't trust that wing?
Yeah, that's what you're trying to say, yeah.
I suppose that ultimately you have to ask the people in the front line what they think.
Yeah, that's fair enough. That's fair enough comment, that is. Yeah, I agree with you on that.
And if he needs special needs teaching, then surely we in a society that is based... Then surely we in a society that is basically very, very rich should be able to provide that.
That's right. That's right, as you say, he's not getting any schooling. And when when they act like that, then it makes you think like, where they go out and bloody pinch all these cars and do what they do, you know what I mean?
Okay, so I think somebody needs to do something, and if he is assessed as requiring special needs, give him special needs.
That's right.
Okie dokie then, Cook
Right,
out.
Cook, thank you for coming.
Okay, sure.
Ascertain, Telecom.
Bye-bye. Don't know what he's on, but I wouldn't mind half a pint of it. Next, on this line here, we've got Ken. Good morning, Ken. Probably got Ken, anyway. He's listening to his wireless. He's now racing towards his wireless. Hello, Ken, what can I do you for?
I was listening, I was trying to make a corned beef sandwich.
Oh, right, okay. I prefer a hash.
Yeah, I like corned beef, anyhow.
You like corned beef?
I like a bit of corned beef.
Listen, with or without pickles? It's important because that's what everybody
I like a bit of honey and vinegar on it.
Honey and vinegar?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, that is.
Honey? Don't like the sound of that.
Yeah, it's great.
Honey and vinegar, okay, well, I'll try it.
Yeah.
What can we do you for, Ken?
Well, I was just listening to the last chap, like, I didn't ring up about that at all, but I've got 5 kids, like, I'm a single parent, I've got 5 children, and I feel sorry for the teachers, I do, because, to me, if they asked me if they could reprimand them by the cane or anything.
Do you want to go and turn your wireless down? Because it's
it's
confusing you, isn't it, Ken? If you're going to dial through to the midnight line at Beacon and WABC, do make sure that you turn your wireless down, because we're working a 6-second delay. And it gets jolly confusing, but you can hear everything going on down the phone when you dial through. So, have we got you back, Ken? We have.
I'm trying to listen to it while
Yeah, you can't do that,
it's a bit behind, it's slightly stacked behind.
6 seconds.
Yeah. Now I say, I didn't ring up about this, but I've got 5 children, and to me, the teachers they can't reprimand the kids now. If they ask me...
they can reprimand. What they can't do is use physical violence.
That's it, and they should be able to.
Should they, though?
Yes, definitely.
Well, I mean, I'm not entirely sure that when Mr. Turner, my junior school teacher, chucked a board rubber, it bounced off my head, that it did me a great deal of good.
They used to hit me with a blowing, the board ruler.
They used to run over me in lorries.
Yeah, well, they didn't a lot of bad to you, have they?
They used to hang me by my fingertips.
Yeah, fair enough. Has it hurt you?
Yeah, I'm not... Yeah, it might not have hurt, but I'm not sure that it did any good.
But it made you think about it.
I just thought he was a bully.
Yeah.
And I thought, when I get to your age, pal, I'm going to drop you. That's all I thought.
Yeah, but it never... It made you think of twice.
For doing what, though?
For whatever you'd done.
Talking.
Not talk. Oh, they do more than
looking
talk.
I'll tell you what, I remember one kid called Kevin Bolton.
Yeah.
What an unfortunate name. And his crime was that he looked out the window. That's pathetic.
Oh, yeah. But what do they do? I mean, look at what they're doing these days. They're actually hitting the teachers.
Well, he wouldn't have actually hit any of ours. They were too big for that.
Well, that's it. But that's how they are now. I mean, I dropped my kids off at school the other day, the big ones, which are, the big school. And my daughter, who is 15, I said, look out the window, the back window now, Dad. I said, have a look at this chap who's behind you. I said, he's in the 2nd year. And he was 5'10" and about 13.5 stone.
What was he, a sumo wrestling stud or something?
Yeah, I don't know what he was, but I thought, well, if he sets about the teacher, he's going to kill him. But that wasn't what I rang about anyhow.
But you believe that teachers should be able to hit children?
Should be able to have some comeback.
Okay, which you think should be physical violence?
The cane.
Well, that's physical violence.
Physical violence.
Okay. So teachers should be allowed to use physical violence, according to Ken?
If they do something really bad.
Okie dokie. Your opinion, you're entitled to that.
But that wasn't what I came on for. I was on about, I'll come on for I'll listen to Red Paul.
Yes.
And, you call him a Red Paul, and he's what. But I was listening to the BT today. They announced their profits or the losses. They made a £2 billion profit, which they consider
as a disaster.
As a disaster because they made £3 billion last year.
That's right. They're only making £62 a second this year. I can guarantee that they are because I got my phone bill.
Yeah, and they were making 95 last year.
I think I contributed to at least 50% of their profits.
But they are still on about making 40,000 people redundant.
Yes, they actually said that their profits have been hit because of the redundancy payments that they'd had to fork out.
Yeah.
Despite the fact they're making a massive profit, they're still making people redundant.
But they were also making the dividends higher for the shareholders. The dividend this year will be higher than last year.
Now, in the perfect world of capitalism, that should always happen, shouldn't it?
Oh, in the capitalism world. But, you were on about Red Paul. Eventually, what's going to happen is that they're going to make everybody out of work, so the capitalists can't make any money, can they? If nobody's making any money, earning any money, the capitalists can't make any money because there's nobody making a profit.
This is true.
Yeah. So, you can't call him a Red Paul. To me...
Mr. Can, he said he used to be a communist.
Well, okay.
Don't get much redder than that.
Communist and Labour, to me, communist is the, people should be able to make a decent living.
Is what British Telecom are doing, is that immoral?
Immoral. Definitely immoral. No, it isn't immoral. The government's made it immoral because that profit should have gone, it shouldn't have been sold off. The profit should have gone to the country. And that profit should have then, that they're moaning about they've got to pay so much out to the people that are on the dole now. The profit from that should have gone to the people who are on the dole.
But then, you surely, in a high-tech industry like British Telecom, have to expect that as time progresses, and as new inventions, which you saw on Tomorrow's World not working about 5 years ago, when they finally get them to work and they introduce them, that it becomes, the industry becomes less labour-intensive.
Fair enough, but what's going to happen to the people who are, you cannot keep making people redundant, out of work, just because if a company is making a certain amount of profit, and it becomes through computers and everything, that can make the profit without having to have so much labour intensive working. That company cannot just get rid of people and then...
Well, it's got to if there's no jobs for them.
But what's going to happen to the people? Eventually, you're getting rid of that many people that you're paying them down money. They're not paying tax. It's going to catch up on it.
But it's one of the ironies of a high-tech industry, isn't it?
High-tech industry, everything is going to be high-tech industry in the end.
Well, look at the car manufacturers.
So what are you going to do? Shoot everybody who's out of work?
I think we've probably got to redefine leisure time and how we look at leisure time. Because I think as we progress, people are going to have more of it.
There's loads of people going to have more on it, but where's the money coming from to give them this leisure time? You're going to have to shoot them in the end, you get to 50 years old and shoot the lot of them.
Well, that's what we used to do, didn't it? We used to have a good war every so often.
Now at one time, the working class was that poor, they used to die by 50, but they don't now.
Working class for you.
Eh?
The working class for you. Can't trust them to do anything, can you?
No, we couldn't be expected to die by the age of 50 now.
Yeah. I don't know. Listen, I've got to move on, mate.
All right.
All right, we'll speak to you soon.
See ya.
Ta-ra,
Cheerio.
Ken.
Cheerio.
There we go. Ken making a couple of points. He said, first of all, he believes that teachers should be able to use physical violence against pupils. Do you agree with that? Should teachers be able to belt pupils? Or should learning be a fun experience with no need for bullying and no need for violence? Also, he said that British Telecom they made massive amount, well, loads of money. I think it was £62 a second, something outrageous anyway. But it was down on what they made last year, and they're saying that this is because of the redundancies payments that they've had to make. Now, Ken says it's immoral that they should be making so much money and laying people off. Do you agree? 754-123 in Wolverhampton, 236-235 in Shrewsbury. It's the Midnight Line on Beacon and WABC. It's a free-for-all, so you can talk about anything you want to talk about. And hasta la vista, babies, because we'll be back with Eric after these.
Come to the Beacon Radio Motor Show this Sunday and remember to bring a towel and some trainers. Try windsurfing at the motor show. That's right, windsurfing. And look out for the competition to win a free windsurfing course, courtesy of the Surf Shack in Dudley Road, Wolverhampton. That's it. You've got it. Just watch your ballot. Oh! Life is full of choices. Some are hard and some are pleasure. At Loungecraft, we aim to make buying your new three-piece suite a real pleasure. We offer you the choice from stock or handmade to your order. A truly huge choice in fabrics, colours and designs, which means that your new Loungecraft suite will fit in beautifully with the rest of your furniture and furnishings, whatever your colour or style. And now, for a limited period, we can even offer you a choice in how you pay on selected suites with interest-free credit, written details on request. The one thing we never forget at Loungecraft is that you have a choice. You're going to like us. Loungecraft, in Stallings Lane, Kings Winford. Can't afford a holiday this year? Then come to Holiday Club Pontins. During June, 2 adults can enjoy a 7-night self-catering holiday for just £69 per person, with children under 16 going free. There's plenty of entertainment laid on, including the Crocodile Club for the kids. And you can choose from any one of 8 holiday sites around the country. So come on and treat yourself and the family to a 7-night holiday for just £69 per adult in June. And remember, kids go free. At these prices, places are going fast. For details and bookings, call Holiday Club Pontins now on 0772 621 621 and tell them you heard it on Beacon.
Beacon Radio.
Midnight Line on Beacon and WABC. Calls flooding in to try and save me from dreadful, dreadful tummy ache, because Ken, who we just spoke to, was apparently making a corned beef sandwich, and I don't know why. I was going to get my ears syringed, I suppose. I thought he said that he likes it with honey and vinegar. Apparently that was onion and vinegar, so please don't try honey and vinegar at home, because I will not be responsible for any tummy aches or illnesses you give yourself. So thanks to Murray and also to Jill, who phoned up to put me right on that one. It's a free-for-all on Beacon and WABC's Midnight Line, and next on the lines, it's Eric, with the most famous catchphrase in the West Midlands and Shropshire, the one you voted for, the one you said you wanted to hear. Here he comes now. Well, any second now. Well, obviously before sort of 2 o'clock he'll probably be here. Come on, Eric. Oh, here it comes. Here it comes. You don't just get a catchphrase like this overnight. Oh no, years of professional training. He is arriving, he's arriving. Here comes Eric now. Morning, Eric. Good morning, Eric. Good morning, Eric. Good morning, Eric. Good morning, Eric. Oh, we only took 4, that's not bad. Right to Roy Castle, I think that's a record. Good morning, Eric. What can we do? What can we do for you this morning?
Well, the subject of the shipbuilding hunters.
Yes.
Now they have taken the bread out of their mouths and give it to Barrow.
But if they...
but the reason they have done that...
They had to go somewhere, didn't it?
Well, the reason they've done it, the reason Barrow have won this order is because they can get it built for between 60 and 70 million pound cheaper.
So it was a superior bid?
That's correct.
Well, unfortunately, that's business, isn't it?
Pardon?
I mean, unfortunately, that's business. If somebody can give you a product of the same quality but 70 million pounds cheaper, where are you going to shop?
Well, that's it. That's the core of the apple, Ian.
It's hard, but what can you do about it?
Yeah. And while you're on, Joyce rang you up.
Oh, Joyce. Oh, yes.
And her daughter, Jackie.
Yeah, Joyce and
Well,
Jackie.
it's her daughter's birthday today.
Happy birthday, Jackie.
So I wish her happy birthday.
Okie dokie then, Eric.
I won't tell you what Joyce is doing, but never mind, we won't say nothing about it. I promised her I won't.
Oh, go on, you can't leave us in suspense.
No, I couldn't broadcast that on the air.
You could.
No,
Could if you want. Go on.
Say, my good for garters.
Okie dokie, fair enough then. Alright, so you reckon as far as the government handing out the contracts go, it was hard, but it was fair?
Yeah, I can't see
What about British Telecom laying people off despite the fact they're making massive profits?
But there again, you see, them making people redundant, they're having to dip into their profits to pay them the money.
Well, yeah, but, I mean, if you're making 60-odd pounds a second...
Yeah, but that's the way it's working. On Kenneth Clark, I heard him today. I was listening to Westminster today, and he's abolished his... You remember when he made the statement on crime and law not so about a month ago, where the crime to fit the income.
Oh yes, this was the unit fines, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, he's abolished that now, and for a drunken driver taking life or dangerous driving now.
It's up to 10 years in prison, isn't it?
The penalty is 10 years and not 5 years.
Well, up to, of course.
But that's not the thing they want to look at, Ian.
What should they be looking at, Eric?
Never mind the car drivers. They want to think about the crime of people carrying knives and carrying guns. They want to put a penalty on them. Never mind the car drivers. I think the car drivers suffer enough at times.
Yeah, but if somebody takes a life when they're in... it's an influence of drink...
if they take a life, well then they should go to jail, definitely, for careless driving, for drunken driving.
But at the moment, they're getting like 2 years.
If they take a life through drunken driving, then they should have a life sentence.
Well, the courts will have the power to sentence people up to 10 years in prison.
But,
of course, whether or not they actually use that.
I don't think the courts know where they stand with the government at the present time. But,
wasn't the unit fines idea quite a good one in theory?
Pardon?
Well, if somebody earning £30,000 a year...
Yeah?
Gets a £50 fine, it's nothing, is it? But to somebody who's on sort of like £100 a week, a £50 fine is massive.
It's a massive fine. Yeah.
So surely somebody on 30,000 a year would be a much better idea if that fine was adjusted upwards.
Well, he's abolished that according to their incomes now, hasn't he?
Yeah, but do you think it's a good idea to abolish it, or do you think...
No, I don't think it is.
Do you think it could have been made workable?
It could have been made workable if he'd have worked it as they worked it the proper way. I mean, as you say, a bloke taking £100 on less than £100 and gets fined £50 or £60. Well then, when you look at it, that's obviously a lot to put on the table all at once, innit?
Certainly is.
Yeah.
So it looks like we have a two-tiered legal system.
Yeah.
How hard you get hit depends on your income.
Yeah, but he's abolished that now and put something else there.
Yeah, they've just turned it round, haven't they? I mean, now how hard you get hit depends on how little you earn.
Yeah.
The more you earn, the less you get hit.
The same as that bloke was fined £12,000 for chucking £1,200 for chucking that crisp paper out.
Well, he won't be chucking any more, will he?
They reduced it to £48, but he said he's abolished that now.
I think if somebody got taken to court fined £1,200 for chucking a crisp packet out the window, it's going to be the last crisp packet he ever chucks.
Yeah. Okay then, Ian.
All right then, Eric.
But if Mavis comes on...
Yes?
Because there's after a talking table.
Don't ask me, I just answer the calls. I don't know. A talking table.
A talking table.
Ah, okay, Eric.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, thanks for that.
Cheers, Ian.
Bye-bye.
Good night, God bless.
Bye. So if anybody's got a talking table, I suggest you actually go and see a psychiatrist. Who have we got next on this line? Here we got Len. Good morning, Len.
Good morning, Ian.
Good morning. What can we do you for?
Well, first of all, thank you for letting me back on again.
That's all right.
I'd just like to clear the air a bit. I'm not a fascist. Never have been and never will be.
Well, it sounded a bit fascist what you were saying the other night, but it's another day, another midnight line.
I probably didn't explain myself, but Paul broached it earlier on when he said that there has been a conspiracy to withdraw capital by the rich, therefore creating a slump in this country.
But, if you're a capitalist with, like, heaps of capital, because you're talking about big players, presumably.
Oh, big players.
You've still got to have somewhere to put it, haven't you?
You take it to some other part of the world.
But it always has to be somewhere.
Yeah, but you take it to some third world country and charge them horrendous interest rates, which they'll never clear. And that's the point I was trying to make, that there has been a concerted plot, as you put it, to take money away from people. Therefore, they've created bankruptcies, 2 million people unemployed, but now they've created a £50 billion deficit, which I can't see them getting out of next year, to be quite honest. What they'll have to do is probably that £50 billion deficit, they'll borrow from the Monetary Fund, or somebody who is supported by the bankers that we're talking about.
That is bankers, of course.
Yes, and they will probably add that £50 billion onto the capital loan, yeah? So they'll be paying interest upon interest upon interest, and we'll never clear it. But it's just proving a point that the conservative policies of the last 14 years just aren't working, mate. It's as simple as that.
No, they are working.
Oh, for the rich?
Yes.
Yes, but they're not working for the benefit of the country.
But that's not what conservatism is about, is it? I wouldn't have thought.
Well, it's a bit one-sided, mate, isn't it?
Yeah,
well, if you're rich, isn't it?
Well, exactly, but there again, if I was the Duke of Westminster, I would probably vote Conservative.
Yeah, but I did point out the other night where our two leaders, the Chancellor and the Prime Minister, had worked before they came into politics.
They both worked at...
Rothschilds.
A bank?
Yes.
They were bankers?
Well, they were involved in the banking industry, yeah. So obviously they're part of the plot. And there are groups set up. Please don't let me bore you. There are groups set up, and I'll name two, the Bilderberg and the Trilateral, of where politicians from all sides go. And to be quite honest, to hatch plots, if you want to put it that way.
What is
to manipulate the economies.
What is the purpose, the end product of a plot, then?
Well, at the end of it, the working classes are kept down, as Paul was saying earlier on, and the rich get very rich.
Well, that sounds fair enough if you're very rich. If I was very rich, I'd probably want to remain very rich, and I'd probably attend meetings that was going to help me achieve my aims.
Anyway, enough of that, mate, because I don't want to talk about that anymore.
And who knows, 8
score
draws on Saturday, and I might be able to attend a few of those meetings.
I think you're talking about more money than what you'd win on the pools. But anyway, you know what they were saying about education and teachers?
Yeah.
Do you remember, I'm a bit older than you, I'm 10 years older than you, probably a bit more, but the teachers we used to have in school, I was born in 45, so in the 60s. I came from a rough area, and I can remember a little fella called Lewis, who was about 4'10", controlling some of the biggest lads in Birmingham. And do you know how he used to do it? By recounting his life in the Navy during the war. And they used to be mesmerised. And I feel that the teachers that we've got nowadays, the calibre of the teacher we've got nowadays, because they've done nothing else but teach, maybe lacks a little. I don't know how you think about it.
I started to get worried about it when I was at university, because there was a teachers' training college, and they just seemed to be turning out, well, God knows what they were turning out, but they weren't what I would have considered to be a teacher.
Because most of our teachers had served in the war.
Well, I'll tell you, our maths teacher, right, was in the Special Forces in the Second World War.
Yeah.
Now, do you want to mess with him? Because I certainly
apart
don't.
From that, did he ever recount any things and keep you... I bet if there was 42 in a class, as there were them days...
Yeah, there was...
You sat there and you listened.
There was a guy, our geography teacher was a guy called Hamby, and he'd taken a shrapnel wound after D-Day.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it might have... Actually, it might have been the bridge at Namagan, was it?
I'm not sure.
A bridge too far.
I'm not that old.
Yeah, he used to tell. I think it was that. I think he was in that action. But I mean, I agree. I think it's like a good policeman, isn't it? I think that a good policeman's probably done a lot more things than just be a policeman.
That's right.
I think a good teacher's done a lot more things than just be a teacher.
That's
a good broadcaster, I think, has done a lot more things than just present played records all his life.
Well, it's not just in the teaching profession. It's if you meet anybody in the pub and they've led a varied life, say going abroad, working abroad, they're always interesting to talk to, aren't they?
Whereas, yeah, and once you generate a bit of charisma, yes, you can exercise control, and you don't need violence.
No.
Although these guys were perfectly capable of handing it out. All right, listen, I'm going to leave it there, Len.
Can I just mention, I hope somebody mentions later on whales.
Whales, the hunting
whales,
of them.
Yeah, and the two countries that are doing it. So somebody, please listen. Just mention it, will you? Because I ain't got time.
Okay. Cheers.
For 1 o'clock news, this is Peter Russell. The gunman threatening to blow up a French nursery school has allowed another child to go free. 13 youngsters have been released so far, but 7 children and a teacher are still under siege. Nikki Broyd reports from Paris.
Blankets and sleeping bags have been taken inside the school, and the teacher has given the children tranquilizers to help them sleep. Little is known about how they're coping, but the gunman has appeared as calm and resolute in an interview with a national French TV station. He says his sole motivation for the siege is money, and he's now not only demanding nearly £12 million in cash, but a large car, so he says he can take 2 of the children with him. He still has what look like explosives around his waist, and the governor of the region has said force won't be used to end the crisis. Instead, negotiations will continue. Nikki Broyd, RN, Paris.
Former Heathrow security guard Florida Phil has been charged with the theft of nearly £1 million. 47-year-old Philip Wells was arrested in East London after a tip-off from a national newspaper. 7 miners have been killed and 46 others are missing after an underground fire at a coal mine in South Africa. Rescue teams are trying to reach survivors at the mine at Secunda, 60 miles southeast of Johannesburg. A rock fall at a gold mine in South Africa yesterday claimed the lives of 5 miners. Smokers can double their chances of quitting the habit with nicotine patches. A study by the Imperial Cancer Research Fund found 36% of smokers using the patches stopped within 3 weeks, compared to 16.5% using a dummy patch. Professor Michael Russell says the method's worth a go.
Nicotine's absorbed through the lining of the skin, and so that the smoker doesn't have to suffer the same pangs of nicotine withdrawal, and they can, in the early stages, when they can be attending to the conditioning and the social and the psychological aspects of it. So it doesn't do everything, but it makes a huge difference, doubling their chances of success.
Independent Radio News.
The weather, presented by Safeway Windows, Doors and Conservatories, Oxford Street, Bilston.
490949 Bilston 4909.
Well, hey, rain overnight. Some of it's going to be quite heavy. Can't see how it's going to be heavy, because it's only made out of water. Ha ha ha! Great gag. Wet again today, and a lot cooler. 9 Celsius, 48 degrees Fahrenheit is the temperature we have at the moment.
Beacon Radio.
Midnight Line on Beacon and WABC, and it's a free-for-all, so you can talk about anything you want to talk about. We'll probably catch up with the adventures of the captain during this hour of the phone-in. See what I mean? See, it's in the news. It's in the news that these nicotine patches, what I'm wearing, actually do increase your chances of giving up smoking. And I've got to say that it's the times I've given up smoking before, it's been real sort of, if you'd have stood between me and a cigarette packet with some ciggies in it and said, Ian, and this is after about, like quite a long time, like about 3 hours, if you'd have said, Ian, you can't have those cigarettes, it'll be over my dead body, you'd be dead pretty quickly. But no, I mean, these fabulous, take away the craving and everything. So I didn't actually get round to phoning up Nicotinell because I was too busy giving some insurance companies a good thumping. Thoroughly enjoyed that. It's great fun. But I'll give them a phone today and see if we can get some product to give away. And we'll have some guinea pigs. Right. So if your guinea pig smokes, give us a call and we'll try and arrange it some patches. Okay, who've we got next? We've got, I believe, it's a first-time caller. Morning, Steve.
Hello.
Good morning. First time, huh?
Yeah, first time caller.
Hey.
Okay.
What can we do you for?
Well, I'm not quite sure what to talk about, but I thought I might mention the meaning of life, because...
The meaning of life, that's a good one, and that's what we talked about yesterday
I think
morning.
you had that on yesterday, didn't you?
Yeah, and we did say that we would have a definitive answer for you about the meaning of life by 2 o'clock, and we didn't.
No, you always say that, though, don't you?
No, but I was lying.